One Piece Chapter 1 The Red-Haired Pirate. About 1 year ago, a pirate ship landed on a small seaport. We see a boy named Monkey D. Luffy, standing on the bow of the ship. The boy wanted to show that he is manly enough to travel with the rest of the crew. Therefore, he stabs himself under his left eye. Later that day, we see that his wound is treated and the crew members are celebrating Luffy's idiocy and their greatness in a bar. On the bar counter, Luffy is seen talking to the pirate crew's head Shanks, nicknamed Red-Haired. Luffy asks Shanks to take him to the sea, but Shanks laughs it off by saying that Luffy can't even swim, and that's a pirate's greatest weakness. Luffy counters Shanks' statement by saying, "As long as I stay on the deck, I'll be fine, plus I have trained myself, so my punch hurts as much as a pistol." Yeah, well, Shanks wasn't too impressed, implying Luffy was just speaking rubbish. A crew member suggests that it's not a big deal to take Luffy one time. Shanks threatens him, saying why doesn't he stays behind in place of Luffy. Shanks says to Luffy, "The most important thing is that you are too young, wait at least 10 years and then I'll reconsider taking you out to sea." Luffy says to himself, "I even cut my face and he still won't agree." The bar owner Makino enters the scene with another barrel of sake, alcohol, for the crew. She asks Luffy if he'd like to eat something. Luffy immediately says okay. He promises to pay her back with his treasure. Makino laughs and says, "She'll be waiting." Luffy asks Shanks how long are they gonna stay in the town. Shanks says it's been a year since they have been using the town as their base, and intends to head north after sailing a couple of times more. Luffy promised to learn to swim by then. While Luffy was eating and the crew drinking, a mountain bandit named Higuma enters the bar. He demands 10 barrels of sake. Makino replies that they have run out of sake. Higuma points to Shanks' crew and says, "I wonder if what they are drinking is water." Makino politely replies that it's sake, but that's all that they have. Shanks apologizes on behalf of his crew for finishing all the sake, and offers the last untouched bottle to Higuma. Higuma rudely breaks the bottle, covering Shanks in alcohol. He tries to threaten Shanks by saying that he has killed 56 people before and has an amazing 8 million berries bounty. Note: the bounty is the prize on someone's head by the government and berries is the currency of One Piece world. Well, Higuma warns Shanks to not mess with him again. Shanks, ignoring Higuma's warning, says sorry to Makino, the bar owner, for ruining the floor with alcohol. He asks her for a cloth to wipe the floor, while Makino was asking Shanks to let her clean it. Higuma tries to harm Shanks with a sword, which Shanks dodged. Higuma, with a smirk on his face, leaves the bar. Shanks and his crew starts to laugh upon his departure. Luffy, angered at the situation, asks Shanks, "Why are you laughing? Why didn't you fight back?" Who laughs after getting picked on? Shanks calmly replies, "It's just a bottle of sake, there's nothing to get worked up about." Luffy was too angry to listen to reasons. He says, "I don't want to see you cowards," and was walking out of the bar. Shanks grabs onto his hand, and says, "Come on Luffy, don't go." Everyone, including Luffy himself, was surprised to what they had witnessed in the bar. Luffy's arm is stretching. One of the fat member of the crew says, "The fruit of rubber, Gamu Gamu no Mi, which they stole in the sea, is not in the box." He shows a picture to Luffy and asks if it's that what he ate. Luffy says, "Wasn't that a dessert? It tasted very bad though." Shanks calls Luffy an idiot and answers, "The fruit you ate is called Gamu Gamu no Mi, one of the fruits of the devil, one of the rarest treasure in the sea. Whoever eats it, gains the power of rubber but will lose his ability to swim." Luffy seems shocked that he won't be able to learn swimming. Shanks' crew sets sail again. Some time passes, we see Luffy going to buy fish. The store owner asks for Luffy's good mood. Luffy replies, "After eating the Gamu Gamu no Mi, I've become even more happier, though I can't swim anymore, but I'll try my best to not fall in the sea." The town's mayor, who is in the area, confronts Luffy, saying that by becoming a pirate, Luffy will bring shame to their town. Luffy ignores mayor's words. Luffy is then seen in a bar, drinking juice. He says to Makino that Shanks' crew has been away for a while now. Makino asks if Luffy is feeling lonely, to which he immediately denied. Luffy, in a disappointing tone, says that he has overestimated Shanks. He thought Shanks was a tough pirate. Makino defending Shanks says, I thought, people who could laugh it off after getting picked are pretty brave. Luffy says that Makino doesn't understand, there are times when a man should fight back. Higuma and the other bandits arrives the bar again, and orders sake. While drinking they started badmouthing Shanks' crew for how big of a cowards they were. Makino is seen running to the mayor's house. Upon arriving she worriedly says that Luffy is kidnapped by the bandits. We see Higuma beating Luffy on the street. Higuma finds it amusing that punching and kicking doesn't harm Luffy since his body is rubberized because of the Gamu Gamu no Mi fruit. Higuma says that they should sell Luffy. Luffy finds a bat and runs towards Higuma asking for an apology, but what can a small 7-year-old boy can do? He was beaten to the ground. The town's mayor arrives the spot and begs to let Luffy go, he's willing to pay for it. Higuma says, Luffy has made him angry, and he can't let him go. He takes out his sword with intentions to kill Luffy. At the same time Shanks arrives the scene, he says, I was wondering, why no one welcomed us at the port, so this is why. He teases Luffy, saying wasn't his punch as strong as a pistol. Higuma warns Shanks that if he'd get any closer, he'd open fire at him. At the same time one of the bandits puts gun on Shanks' head. Shanks confidently says, well since you pulled your gun, I guess you are willing to put your life on the line. The bandit was confused. Shanks says, I said don't use this to scare people. In the fraction of a second, the fat member of Shanks' crew blows the bandit's head, who was aiming at Shanks. Makino, Mayor, Luffy and everyone else were shocked. Another bandit said that it was a dirty move. Pirate's crew second in command replies, don't make me laugh, do you think we're saints or something? Shanks quotes, the people standing in front of you are pirates. Shanks further says, you can throw food and sake at me, or even spit on me, in most cases I'll just laugh it off, but I don't care what reasons you have. I won't forgive anyone who messes with my friends. Shanks' crew second in command steps up saying he'd take care of all the bandits. Within few minutes he defeats everyone. Luffy, Makino, Mayor were amazed. Higuma in a scared tone says that it was Luffy who messed with them. Shanks replies that it doesn't matter since Higuma has a reward on his head. Higuma throws a smoke screen bomb, and fleds the spot taking Luffy. We see that Higuma has fled to a boat. He throws Luffy in the sea saying he is useless to him. The conflict between Luffy and Higuma started because Luffy asked for an apology for calling the red-haired pirates cowards. Luffy is drowning, and Higuma is enjoying his slow death, but suddenly a sea monster appears. He gobbles Higuma down along with his boat. The sea monster was now approaching the already drowning Luffy. It opens its mouth to eat Luffy, and just before he closes it, Shanks saves the boy. Shanks, looking in eyes of sea monster, says, get lost. The sea monster senses immense danger and feeds the spot in fear of getting killed. Shanks thanks Luffy and says that he heard from Makino that Luffy stood up for them in front of the bandits. Luffy, holding Shanks' shirt, keeps on crying. Shanks says, come on Luffy, boys don't cry. Luffy says, but Shanks, your arm. Shanks says, it's just an arm, as long as you are alive. Luffy gave out a loud cry. The reason why Shanks didn't take Luffy with him is that the sea is an unpredictable place. It's not something humans can control. But Luffy understands how great Shanks is, and hopes to be just like him in the future. Some time passed, we see Shanks leaving the town for good. Luffy says he'll not ask Shanks to take him to the sea. He'll become pirate by himself. Shanks teases Luffy that he'll not take Luffy even if he begs. He doesn't have what it takes to be a pirate. Luffy angrily says, yes I do. Luffy announces, one day I'll find myself a crew that is as strong as yours. And then I'll find the world's biggest treasure, the One Piece, and become the king of the pirates. Shanks gives his favorite hat to Luffy and says, this hat is my gift to you. When you become a great pirate in the future, you'll return that hat to me. Shanks orders the crew to pull out the anchors and set sail. The youth's journey begins 10 years later from this place. 10 years later, Makino, Mayor and everyone is at the harbor saying goodbye to Luffy. Luffy has left the town on a small boat. He encounters the same sea monster, but this time, he ain't frightened. He says he'll show the monster what he has learned in these past 10 years. He throws a solid right-hand punch. Calling the attack, Gamu Gamu no Mi pistol, he defeats the monster in one blow. Once again he shouts in the freedom of the sea. I'll become the king of the pirates. He says he'd have to find at least 10 crew members. Without any friends he sets sail on a little boat. The long journey has begun.